When I posted to the community that I have been noticing an increasing frequency, people saying, I feel too much because I'm feeling this other person's emotions. By the end of whether it's the day, the shift, the session, I'm fried and I'm worried about my own well-being in terms of the fact that if I get emotionally drained this way by working out one person or 10 people, how am I going to have a sustainable practice? And it doesn't surprise me looking at everything that's going on right now. Everything is kind of being brought to a head in every way. And so, of course, the people who are sensitive already are feeling just overwhelmed. And so then adding these extra sensitivities on top of it, of developing your ability to feel deeper or more, it just feels like, I don't want to feel more. I don't want to feel deeper. I just want to feel the minimum possible.
I was trained in a Western tradition that involves tapping into nature and what nature can offer us in terms of self-protection, grounding, and assistance. It has been more of a Western esoteric tradition, but it is a way that it is a door that I think that I have some tools that I can offer that might be helpful. I've found over the past 15 years that I've been practicing chiropractic, that I've developed my own sort of tactics of casting a personal space and calling in elements of nature to come to establish a healthy self from what they're going through and be the vessel of healing that I know that I can be, while sustaining and nourishing my own self so that I can keep coming back in.
That concept of the self-nourishing versus the self-depleting is really what I'm hearing. Tell us more about that. That's absolutely wonderful.
So I've taught people on 3 different levels, but I'm going to start with the most common. I'll just mention the other 2. Some people that walk into this field have their doors open. They can't. They're so empathic that they can't seem to shut those doors. We have a psychic door open that we can't close, but that's not, in my experience, the people that are attracted to this work want to heal because they've been hurt themselves in the past, or they've experienced wounding, and we want to give back as a way of healing ourselves. Does that sound familiar?
It's often the people who are sensitive to this kind of subtle energy essence that are attracted to work like BGI, because it has that other component of acknowledging our energetic being able to listen to things other than just those big, really obvious mechanical dysfunction type things. And so even though we're offering something that is in many ways going to be of a nourishing quality to these people, it feels like the entrance into it feels really scary.
When we come to this work to want to help people, we take on a responsibility of somebody else's healing. And it's not about your journey. This is about their journey. And they've come to you for help. And the people that often arrive at our office are in a state of dis-ease themselves. So they walk in with their own stagnations and disconnects. So if you're looking from the self to fix that, healing comes through you, not from you. And by tapping into the energies that bind us all and make us one, and keeping that in mind, that throughout the day, and establishing those sort of safe spaces around yourself, you're able more to be a vessel for others. So there was a chiropractor in the early 1900s, Israel Regardi. He was a student of Western ceremonial magic. And he took his teachings and tried to offer to other healers of addressing the self before addressing others. A meditation called the middle pillar meditation, which connects us from the astral energy from the earth through us and about us. And it does manifest itself in a sacred geometric flow, the torus field, as it were, where we actually could pattern in the graphics, which is something that technology has given us. I'll give you a little rundown because it's actually really easy to lock in. And the first thing that you do to establish it is to recognize that you are a being of light, that I am a being of light. And the first, as soon as you say that, image yourself as a being of light, for whatever that means to you. So just sitting, you call from above, over your 8th chakra, the coronal plane, the light coming from the universe through you and in through your psychic centers. And let it spill down your spinal cord, through your arms, through your legs, into the earth. And feeling the healing energy of the earth, which is also a being of light. And that being of light mixes with you and pulls up through your feet, through your sacral base, up through your spinal cord, out through your hands, through the top of your head. A shower of light surrounds you in the torus field of the healing earth. You are a being of light. This is who and what you are now and forever. Now you're connected with the energies of the astral, with the energies of the material. And you know that they're working through you. I don't know if you can feel it, but that gets me resonating. Another thing that one can do is to get in early, get to the office. And in Western mysticism, we often create a sphere of protection around ourselves. We call it a circle, that we cast a circle, but I see it as a sphere. And the more you can generate this sphere around yourself, then the more it stays in a particular area. I actually have one around myself as a mobile, semi-permeable, crystalline sphere, much in the way of a cell. So, you know how the living system creates a cell with the semi-permeable outer layer, and that too is in a geodesic sort of dome, and it has antennae, the ligands that allow certain energies in and out of the cell in order to keep, and also to keep the respiration. That's how I see it. I will go to my office and I will cast that sphere, but also the entire office, starting from the east. And now that I'm hooked into the earth and I'm a being of light and it's working through me, I will pull her energy through my fingers out to the east, around where I am working and where people will be coming in and out. And I cast this sphere that it be a meeting place of love, joy, and truth, a shield against all wickedness and evil, a portal between the world of men and the realm of the shining ones, a rampart and protection that shall secure and contain and raise the healing power within. Wherefore do I bless in the names of, and if you don't have a deity, you would say spirits of love, joy, peace, health, and healing. Now you have that sphere about yourself. So all who enter get that, and they're already cleansed before they reach you. And this is your home. You've now created a home that is a semi-permeable mobile sphere. Now that you have your home, what do you want your home to look like? What's your safe sphere? How do you feel most comfortable? Many people will pull in a room, like a library, where they have all their bits of knowledge and all their safety. Others will have their ancestors about them, all the way to the beginning, knowing that they are in the room with them and helping them. I personally like a grove of trees. So now my healing space has a grove of trees with a pool, with a nice fire, and the healing spirits of nature within. So I hear waterfalls and I smell these things. And the more I reinforce this talisman as I walk into my healing space, the more I see that space. And it's my home. People are coming into my home and they are being in this space with me. So they can't help but get this sort of grooviness coming from me because I'm feeling really good about being in my space. So I'm not focusing so much on where their energies are as much as come into my home. I adopted Amy's space in New York back in 2005. And Amy had dressed this room, a small room on the 5th floor of a Manhattan office. And there were high ceilings and it was painted this beautiful shade of raspberry and sage colors. So healing to walk in there. And it was funny because when I walked into it first, it looked like the shades of my grove.
Oh, nice.
And I thought it was just so marvelous. And when people walked in, they just audibly went, ah, before they did anything else, before they even spoke to me. They knew they were in a safe space. So you actually created that. And I was so grateful that it was that way. Do you remember that it had that, the windows, these great windows, but they were open to like this terrible, nasty, dirty chute. Yeah. I went to the Hallmark store and I got this gold wrapping paper, for like a holidays. It was very shiny and beautiful. Yeah. And I put it over the windows so that the windows had this gold. So it was also, it was like this raspberry sage and then this gold. And I really loved that space for the time I was in it.
It was a good space. It was so funny because it was so different from my space that I had before that, which was very open and airy, woomy. It was so like very protective,
very nourishing, and everybody felt it. And I'll never forget it. I carried it offices and I just expanded upon it.
And it's funny, Claire, because yesterday we were speaking with Ana Sayaris, and both of you spontaneously on this topic have mentioned how important it is to create a space that you walk into and it's like, yeah.
I'm glad that you said that because many of us don't have that control. They're working for another practice that may not resonate with what they have. So being able to bring that with you each day and to set it up early and to make the space that you're in your space and that you can move with it so that people that are within your sphere can feel that, then you have your space wherever you go. That's the more you practice it, the more it works for you.
For sure.
For sure. That's why I like the semi-mobile, permeable sphere that is a living being, a living cell to walk around with me. Another thing I like to do is clean the space I'm in. And like I'll open the windows even if it's chilly just to get some air in. And now we have to do that anyway for COVID. We have to have circulation in the room. But with intention, the intention of clearing the space of any anything that isn't what you want to have in it. Cleaning each table, maybe 2 or 3 times a day at least. I mean, I'm doing it between every patient now. But with the intention of clearing the table, space is the space for the client coming in, and that's their seat when they come into the space to clear out the others. You, as the practitioner, if you're able before coming in to cleanse your hands under running water and feel any residue that's within you that you need to have clear from yourself running down into the drain. Mm-hmm. It helps with salt water, but not always have Epsom salts, and it works too if you just keep that with running water for the faucet, and do that several times a day, and especially at the end of the day. It is holding your hands under cleaning water and feeling the water drain whatever you've accumulated during the day out of yourself. To take breaks through the day, like schedule, know where your energies are. So maybe after 2 or 3 hours, have at least 20 minutes where you with your pillar of light and your being of light. Again, some people don't have that luxury. They're working for other people, but that is something that you can talk to your clinic director about, saying, look, this is how my energies work, and this is how I'm feeling most effective. Yeah. And hopefully you're working with somebody like that, but be direct with them about where your strengths are. More often than not, they'll take that into consideration because they want their clients to have a good outcome. So
absolutely. And they want you to stick around.
Yeah. It's much easier to keep you there than to keep hiring new people. And
that's right.
As a business model, they will get that.
Yes.
Make sure you're nourished during the day. Keep nibbles around. Keeping nibbles in your stomach helps ground you anyway, because that's bringing the earth inside of you, but it's also keeping yourself nourished and well hydrated. Drink water, hopefully electrolyte water during the day. And again, with the intention that this clearing, healing water is flushing through me and allowing me to be a vessel of healing and light. As far as when your clients come in, they don't have to know that you're doing all this stuff, that you're putting all these talismans up in your psychic world, but they do get that effect. Here's one thing that I found is really effective. They're not focusing on you and your energies and what they're doing with you, is to have them have a goal of care, so that when they walk in, they have their own goal of care and they're envisioning themselves in a place where they want to be. That takes the focus off of you and helps you help them their goal through their journey. So, and it doesn't have to be couched in terms that they're like, what are you talking about? I don't know what you're saying. Like, what does done look like to you? How does, when you've come in here, when you wanted some care, what does that care look like to you? Have that in your mind in a specific time frame. And keep that in mind when you're on the table while I'm working with you, so that your energies work with that. And
that's such a good point too, Claire, because one of the questions that I received from somebody who's very new in practice said, the word overwhelmed seems to be a popular one. And how do I not fall into the trap of wanting to be everything for everyone? Because on one hand, I understand that I can't do everything for everyone. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not an exercise physiologist. I'm not a trainer. I'm just a chiropractor. Look at all of the things that people have going in their lives that would be really easy to have a positive impact in. I don't know where to stop. And I think your question is so great, because again, it's like, here's the ball, this is your process. This is your journey. It is not mine. What does a win look like for you? Is it being able to be on the floor with your grandkids for 45 minutes? Is it being able to walk with your husband for 2 hours? Is it being able to be seated at your desk for 6 hours, taking breaks every 20 minutes for 5 minutes and not getting yelled at by your boss, whatever it is. And that's, again, it's like, okay, I'm here to serve. So what are your goals? Not my goals, because my goals are really irrelevant at this point. And I think that that's an extremely helpful observation for people. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. If you're giving off the impression that you want to do everything for them, then they're going to get that psychically and turn to you for that. Okay, you can do everything for me, can't you? Even if you don't
they're going to turn to you, and then they're going to turn against you when it doesn't work.
Right.
And it's just a really unpleasant road to go down with somebody, because it's just not, it's not a win-win for anybody.
It's human nature. When people are drowning, you know how they tell people who are going to rescue them, you have to look out because they're going to take you down with them. If they think that they're powerless, if they feel helpless, that they're going down and they don't have any agency in their healing, then they're going to cling on to you, and that's no good for anybody. So the more you can empower your clients with their own innate healing ability and what they can do for themselves in their lives outside of what you can do for them as their sort of physical and emotional coach in this area, then they're better off in the long run. And they come back to you because they see the value that they bring themselves in coming to you. They feel more empowered because they're in your sphere, in your beautiful home where you've made this for them. And and then you can leave the office and be like, oh, thank God, I'm not responsible for everything for everybody. I can go home and have a life. At the end of the day, I will thank them, and I will thank those who help me. I see helpers with me, and that's how I get through things. I will clear the room of the sphere. I will bring it back into the ground and let Mother Nature hold it until I come back the next day. I again reestablish the reality that I'm a being of light. This is who and what I am now and forever. And that helps take me out of the material, but back into the realm of here as well of the day. A lot of us leave and go home and then gorge because that's a way of grounding. And that's not a healthy, that's why you have to nibble through the day so that when in the office. But if you keep yourself hydrated and nibbly, then you're not feeling too exhausted by the end of the day. Did that answer the question? Some of these seem mundane.
It's a range of, I'm living in this physical structure that has needs and requirements. How do I take care of those? To, I live in this spiritual, ethereal world. How do I take care of those? And there's, it's not one, we're multi-scalar beings, and if we miss one of them, the rest of them suffer. And so I really appreciate your perspective.